this Happy Wheel Wednesday. As we wait for some people to come in, if you have any questions, if you'd like to answer them, I could try. So go ahead and throw them down below.
Did you and Rich do any small talk, some automotive small talk while people filter in? Did you see the F1 company bought MotoGP?
Nope.
That's pretty cool. So they're trying to have a big MotoGP in the United States kind of push. Let's see.
I'm a big F1 fan.
Really?
It just doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, okay.
So
You've never been an F1 fan?
Never.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things I watch that I think are interesting, but like, and I can get into like the Netflix series, but I can't just sit down and watch an F1 race. Who's got time for that?
Carlos Sainz, Carlos Sainz? His father won the Dakar Rally a couple weeks ago, and then Carlos Sainz drives for Ferrari. He had to sit out for a race because he got his appendix removed.
Okay.
And then the very next race he won. He said, I think all the drivers should get their appendix removed.
Well, that's an interesting take.
Yeah.
Anyhow, if you have any questions or anything like that related to wheels, don't ask F1 questions. I don't know them. Then be sure to throw them on in. Let's see. This podcast that we have coming up in just a little bit of time here, we talked about 3D printing and 3D scanning. And here's the premise. We now use 3D printing and 3D scanning within wheel production. For example, when we go out to check brakes and we want to make sure that we have all the fitment data, we used to do it in a very manual way by kind of actually physically manually measuring brakes and kind of using profile gauges. And now, we're into the point where, we scan everything. And then when we want to see a wheel before we make it, we 3D print it, right? Well, so what's interesting is that these tools are now becoming more and more cost effective for the average everyday person to own these things for their own personal garage. At what point do these things become part of somebody's toolbox for the average garage? Because I'll tell you this, like when we start thinking about fabricating and all these different things that we do anyway, it's interesting how with a 3D scan and a little bit of manipulation with a computer and a 3D printer, you can replicate things, interior parts, whatever it may be, versus having to fabricate them maybe out of metal or some different other tricks. So it's interesting. So that's what we're talking about today in the podcast. And then today's and the Friday piece of content that we're putting out, this is pretty interesting. We've never done this before, but we're going to give it a shot. A lot of times we get questions from you about what it takes to produce a wheel, right? How long does it take to make a wheel design? What does it look like? How did you get to this final wheel? Well, we're putting together a video here about the Mark I, the new Mark I, where we basically are going to show you every iteration of the design of the Mark I. And I'm going to explain to you exactly what happened and why we made certain changes. And I think it's going to be an interesting piece because you're going to watch us, you're going to listen to me take you through a journey of, over the course of, let's say, almost 8 months or so. And you're going to see designs that look crazy, awesome, sick. And then you're going to see us go away from them. Now, I know that it's hard to understand, but when you realize why we have to make some of those changes and why we can't do the initial designs that maybe we come up with right out of the box, I think it will give a little bit of clarity to, why things happen the way they are, why things look the way they are. But it should be interesting. So make sure this Friday you mark it on your calendar to tune in, because I think there's going to be some interesting learning that goes on from the wheel perspective that you guys have asked questions for. So any questions you have about anything, let's go ahead and throw it in.
We got I'm with you, Scott. F1 is just boring to follow.
Yeah, I mean, that's my thing. For the record, I've never been a NASCAR fan either.
Well, you like yourself some Lewis Hamilton. I've heard you talk about him.
I like Lewis Hamilton as far as a pop culture figure. I don't and he's a very good driver. I mean, I'm not taking this credit away. It just isn't, going to an F1 race to me would be something that'd be very interesting.
That would be cool.
Watching F1 on TV, I don't have time for that. What am I going to do? Just what? I mean, I don't know. Just listen, a lot of people into it, not knocking it, think it's very cool. Everybody's got to have their thing.
We got a hello from Argentina.
What up?
We got a yo-yo, what's your name? Yo-yo, what's your name? I think they're asking.
I'm Scott. It's nice to
This
see
is
you.
Scott, president of KONIG. We got infinity.exe. Yo, I just got some heliums.
Yep. Sick.
Nice
Thank
heliums.
you.
How,
Appreciate
what year is heliums from? That's got to be 10 years old, right?
More than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty Ricky Z4M. What's up, fellas?
Happening, Ricky?
What's up,
How
Ricky?
are you, my man?
They ask, what are we 3D printing live today?
No, we're not 3D printing live anything. We're just talking about the idea of using 3D printing and 3D scanning kind of as a form of tool within a regular garage to be able to do some pretty cool things now that they're so affordable.
We got, let's see, we got Imports Ltd, Imports Ltd, DTT, the guy from Trinidad in the house.
Okay, what's up,
He
man?
says, what's up with his 2JZ S14 from Trinidad.
Cool.
What's up, man?
happening?
Let's see, we got a, who's on the podcast today?
Podcast is, I think it's just Rich and I, right?
It's Rich, you, and
John.
John.
Okay,
Yep.
so it's just the three of us, and we're just talking about this 3D printing, 3D scanning type thing. It's not as boring as it sounds. We actually are just talking about the hypotheses of like look, there's plenty of things when I think about you get some of these old skylines, you get some of these old cars, and then you have to make a decision you're missing interior parts, you're missing this, you have to make some sort of custom intake, you have to do something. Like, right now, your go-to is, for the most part, for me, it's metal, right? It's aluminum, right? I keep a lot of aluminum around the garage in different thicknesses and sizes to be able to actually make things. And but we're slowly. Well, no, we're not slowly. We're here. You're slowly at the point. No, stop saying slowly. We're at the point where you could scan something in a few minutes of configuration on a computer. You could essentially make this part, set it up, print it over the course of a day, and have something that's exactly what you want without having too much real crazy fabrication skills. So it's just that. Is this a tool that's going to be in everybody's garage?
Take it a step further. You don't even need the scan part of it. You just download a file that's open source from somebody else.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of assumption there that what you're working on is going to require everybody or somebody else to be working on as well.
Right.
And I think that having a scanner and a printer at your disposal in the garage could essentially allow you to do anything else you need in real time. The same way I would take a piece of aluminum in some point and make some of these parts, right?
Drifter Gone Wild says, long time no see.
What's happening, man? How are you? It's good to see you.
One of my favorite
both are well?
shirts. Love that guy's shirt that he gave us. He gave us a couple of blue Drifter Gone Wild shirts. Love that one. CLT Brian, thoughts on the Toyo Tires wheel that is essentially an exoskeleton and doesn't utilize a hub?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Is that
However,
the one that's like a collapsible tire kind of thing?
yeah, I don't know. But that wasn't originally a Toyo thing. That was
a military
Was that
thing.
No, wasn't it that Michelin type thing that they came out with it a long time ago? Anyhow, haven't seen once in a while. All right, let's talk about that real quick. What do I think about that? I think that it's got an incredible capability for a lot of specialized use. I think in an everyday situation. I'm not sure how much tread is on those tires, but I could see some play in there. The part that always struck me with that from a wheel perspective is that you can understand how that would create a much more comfortable ride, and it would take stress that obviously metal wheels wouldn't take. But when I start thinking about it from a sport tuning aspect, I'm thinking there's a lot of give and go in that, a lot of slush, you know what I mean? A lot of people are going to, when they go to road racing or something like that, they're going to a stiffer profile, sidewall, and they're doing that because they don't want to have that slop of sidewall roll, but this thing has nothing but slop, so I don't know, not sure.
We got thoughts on drag racing in the NYC area.
I'm from New York. I grew up with drag racing in the New York City area. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking me, though.
They also ask, what do you think about how the scene's changed in the last 10 years?
Man, I think about a lot of stuff that we did in Mexico back in the day.
Like what?
Well, if I had to say Mexico, I'm certainly not going to go to what it is. But, look, I think that there's some things that, from a safety aspect, as I get older, I agree with. I think that there's, I think the closing of tracks has made things extremely difficult because there's not even the excuse of there's an outlet to go to. Drag racing is one of those things that I always have found. That's where I spend a lot of my time, and I have a lot of friends that that's their background, and I think for the most part, drag racing is one of those sports that's extremely enjoyable. It's super easy to understand. It allows people to really build some monster machines that have some really cool capability, and man, it's really satisfying. There's short attention span because you really only need about, depending on how slow your car is somewhere between 10 and 17 seconds. I have a lot of love for drag racing. I also remember the culture and the lifestyle of what was behind it and kind of how we got certain places. But ask more questions specifically if you have them.
I don't know.
I'll try to answer.
Are drag strips nowadays events just being dominated by Teslas? I don't.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
I mean, I have,
Max,
I have no idea.
No matter how much you wish, Tesla.
I don't wish that. I get it though.
No.
Drifter Gone Wild, 3D printers.
Yeah.
Yep, 3D printers. Also says we got some new shirts. We're gonna send you guys some more. Oh,
Appreciate
that's
you.
awesome. Would you throw it back for a real one, Scott? Let's see. I don't know.
What does
I'm
that
not really
mean?
sure what that has. Maybe we're pouring one out for our fallen homies kind of thing. Maybe that's what he's asking. CLT Brian.
Not sure if that's what he
let's
meant,
see.
but I'm throw it back in there. I'll happy to do whatever, I guess.
Let's see. A wheel that looks similar to the Aerodisc but has no hub hole. I think he's talking about the Toyo tire thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what I think. I have to really see it now.
We got Mario Moroni, Rise VTech in here. What's up, Mario?
What's up, man?
We got Hans Orbital in here saying, hey, what's up, Hans? Those are both Grid Life drivers.
Yep.
Brian says, Max, I'll send it to you. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. Pretty Ricky Z4M. Do you guys think people start 3D printing center caps from older Konig wheels? Good question.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it's happened. We've had even people say, do you have the 3D file so I can reproduce this? It's just not something for a lot of the older stuff, it's not something that we ever had then. We used a lot of 2D drawings, mechanical drawings. Obviously that's changed quite a bit.
Blueberry in the house saying, hey guys, also Papa Scott is here, baby.
Yeah, that's true.
He's back.
That's true.
We got Hans Orbital bets on my Hexaform 18 10.5 plus 18 fitting on my wide body S2000.
Well, give us some clues here, man. How over on the quarters and fenders are you, and are you using it square or using it staggered?
No, he also gave a laughing emoji, so I'm not sure.
Oh, that you really want the answer?
Well,
if you really need
might
the
be
answer,
a stretch.
The good thing is we have this beautiful thing called math. And if you use math, we can figure it out for you. That's not really a problem at all. We know what fits the car correctly. We know what size the wheel is. Now we just need to know the variable, which is how much is your wide body? What's the overage on both the fenders and on the quarters?
Nato asks, been waiting on these F1Ms for forever. Any chance you have an update?
I do have an update. It looks like we're starting to see paperwork on these things end of May. I'm going to say some part numbers beginning of June. This has been, I get it. I'm not even going to say anymore.
Well, we also got a follow-up saying, don't get me wrong, I'm going to keep waiting a million years. I don't care.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you don't care,
you.
and I really do appreciate it, but I care, and it's really aggravating because there's just so much that goes into these launches, and every time I feel like we've cleared a hurdle, there's something else that comes up, and it really has nothing to do with the wheels themselves. It's all things. It's accessories. It's suppliers on this. It's O-rings. It's just all the crap that you need accessory wise. The wheels are easy. Anyhow, they are coming. I get updates about it pretty much every day.
We got that MF from AZ asking Hypertrail updates. I have a Bronco. Would it fit HT1 behind you?
I believe it would. We haven't done an actual test, but from the break that we have, it looks like there's really no problem. Yes, you should be good. I believe I saw paperwork on that stuff. There are some. looks. I think there's some landing this week. I believe that there's more landing in a week and a half, and I believe there's more landing a week after that. So I think
Nice.
the entire month of April, pretty much every week or every other week, you will see more of these come into stock. So your part number, if you're ready now, I would go ahead and get them on back order because a lot of them have been going quick, even just without them being here yet.
Hans Orbital, back to you. He's the one that asked about the Hexaform
Okay.
18, 10.5 plus 18 on
Yep.
the wide body S2000. He asks, square setup, I definitely want the answer.
What?
He said he's running a square setup and he definitely wants the answer.
Okay, so got to give us the variable, my man. Where's the overage? How much are you over on the what are the overage quarters and fenders? That's what we need to know.
Gotcha. Let us know, Hans. Blueberry says, I thought Scott said meth instead of math for a second there.
Oh, that is another way of going.
That's funny. Seal T. Brian, I heard Mario plans to win Grid Life South again next weekend.
Sick.
Well, I mean, Mario's a beast,
Good.
so I wouldn't
Throw
be
it down,
surprised. Yeah. Mario says, Rise VTech says, need to defend my CMP win, Brian. I got it. All right.
Nice.
I like that. I like the confidence. Drifter Gone Wild, we just picked up a E60 M5 for $1,000 without engine or trans. What engine do you think would be cool to swap into a Drift Taxi?
Oh,
Drift Taxi.
Jeez. But you're gonna want something Euro, right?
So what, you wouldn't put an S54 in there?
It's played
Too
out.
small? Or?
How about, why don't we throw in the, because, I just love to watch you do this. Why don't we throw in that, one of the, like, S8 V10s?
Okay. He says, also follow-up said, I'm thinking about a turbo M50. What engine is that coming?
Listen, I think that V10, I mean, obviously it's in the R8, but they used in, I believe, some of the S6s and stuff like that, and I think that'd be super sick.
Gavin asks, are all of your center caps interchangeable between Koenig rims?
No. Nope. In fact, there are some that are going to be interchangeable. Like, in other words, if you have a flow form wheel, any one of the ones that has the screw-on cap ones, those obviously will interchange, but there's only going to be two different ones. And then when you use a flow form pop-in cap, pretty much those will interchange with the exception of the dial-in. So, like, there's a couple there, but again, only like two. Everything else, not really. There's kind of a specialized cap for one, for every wheel. There may be a few different things that overlap, like the run light cap, the intention cap, stuff like that. But for the most part, everything is its own animal.
James NA90, do you guys sponsor me?
Do we sponsor you?
Yeah, that's what he asked.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Do we?
You let us know there, James. You
Right.
asked, I'm not sure yet. Salve Mars asks, hey, do you guys have Megane RSs on the U.S. market? And a Megane RS is a Renault Megane, I believe. Renault? Renault. It's the French brand. Yeah.
Yeah, but on RSs?
I don't think we have those in
Yeah,
America.
I'm not really sure that
I wish we do. I love that car.
Yeah.
He also asks, what's the lighter wheel model from Koenig for track use?
The lighter wheel model. It depends on what size. We get asked this quite a bit. It really does depend on size and fitment and offset and a whole bunch of different things. So you want to give us more context, I might have an answer for you.
But maybe flow form wheels. We'd make a bunch of lightweight wheels.
I mean, definitely flow form wheels, but I also think it depends on a lot of different things. Because some, we say lightweight, but just because we make a 15.7 that's 9.9 pounds doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for your Volkswagen. So for me to say the lightest wheel, which is going to probably be the Koenig dial-in, it's because it's 15.7. It doesn't weigh much at all. I think it's 9.9 pounds. That doesn't mean it's going to help you. So I guess if that makes any sense.
We got Antonio saying, I saw some Koenig villains online.
Sick.
That's pretty cool.
What's interesting is we just had some guy that called not too long ago. I'm trying to remember what wheel it was. I feel like it was a Koenig Diva, but he had a brand new set of wheels that he actually had mounted up like a bunch of years ago and then pulled out, and he was like, oh crap, like I never even put these on a car. Brand new.
Oh, that's cool.
So he took a picture and sent it to us. It was pretty cool.
That's cool. How old?
Like a time machine. I mean, it's got to be over 20 years old.
Wow. Well, let's see. We got Japan Karama saying Konig for Italy, please. So I think they want us to be.
I think that's coming. You know, it's funny. It's like I'm actually going to be in Europe at the end of the month, and you know, we're doing some of that stuff. So yeah, I look out for that. I mean, I think you guys have that ITM certification, so we got to kind of walk through some of that. But yeah.
Gavin asks, already asked about the universal Koenig center caps. He says, I have a pair of decograms, but no center caps. Need help.
Oh, just go to store.konigwheels.com. You can get replacement center caps there.
There you go, Gavin. We got CLT Brian, mid-pack warrior for me. Ha ha ha.
Well, listen, we need those mid-pack warriors, Brian. Because if you didn't have the mid-pack, there wouldn't be a pack. You know what I mean?
I'm in the back of the pack. Oh shit, Mia Rose. Release the F1Ms.
I know.
Yeah.
They're coming, and it sucks, and I apologize, but they're coming.
Gavin says, I'll reach out to you guys via email to confirm if these ones fit.
Sounds good.
All right, Gavin, yep. We got Antonio. What's the difference with the villains compared to the dial-in and the freeform?
In terms of what? They're different wheels.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. And then he also asked, been having the dial-in on my Civic and loved them. Now I bought a Miata with freeforms, but saw the villains look good in black too. Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you. I mean, villains haven't been made in over 20 years, so there's that. But yeah, we make a lot of wheels for Miatas. Goodwin Racing is kind of the plug for that.
Josh Dat says,
What's up, Josh?
What's up, Josh? He goes, what do you think about forged magnesium wheels?
Well, I think obviously magnesium is super, super light. And the ability to make a pretty tough wheel with magnesium, I think, is cool. Magnesium now, I believe they add enough alloy so that they don't spontaneously combust. If you want to see, go look for videos back in the older days. But when it comes down to magnesium, they're extremely difficult to manufacture. Now, I can't really speak too much more about that because I really don't have a lot of firsthand experience with actually forging magnesium products. But I do know some of the people that have built those products, and I know that they're extremely difficult and they come with a kind of a high risk, high reward situation. So I don't really think I gave you enough information, but that's kind of my take on it a little bit.
We got Corey asking us, how's the weather out in New York treating you guys? Are you guys
freezing and it's raining?
Have you guys gone to any car shows yet this year?
There's no car shows yet.
Not yet.
It's freezing out here.
It's almost though. Next week, the weather looks good next week finally.
Yeah, I'm ready. I mean, I feel like I can't really figure out if I'm in like winter or spring mode yet, and that's the hard part for me. Like literally, like we'll have a warm day, and I'll start taking things out of the garage, and like just the other day, it was super warm. It was like 60 degrees, so I pulled my front bumper off, and I was like working on some stuff, and then all of a sudden it got super cold again. Now the bumper's under the car's apart, and now I really just want to go drive it. So but I can't because car's all over the place with the tires I have on there.
Plus, it seems like everybody at our office is just slowly recovering from something. So
that Max brought in.
Blame it on me. That's all good. We got N55 David. Yeah, F1Ms pre-ordered through Tire Rack. We still looking at July?
It depends on what partner. I'm gonna say end of June, beginning of July on some of that stuff is possible. So if you did, first off, if you pre-ordered, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Make sure once you get your set, send us pictures and let's see if we could do something cool and special for you.
We got those F4S on Jack's Carnatomy at SEMA with fire.
Appreciate it. We're debating whether we're gonna change that design up a little bit still. We're gonna do F1M and the F3S first. We have developed a couple other forged designs already that we're obviously holding off to release just because we want to get the first two wheels that we had developed out there. And this won't, by the way, this delay of things will not happen again. Once they are out, this game is all different. and we have been figuring out every single way to make sure this doesn't happen again. So, yeah, sucks.
Hey, Corey, shout out to you for saying Carnatomy too, by the way. We
No.
we appreciate you. We got a fan in the house. Drifter Gone Wild, Viper V10 in the E60 M5.
That's sick too.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, that's sick too.
Can you? Would that
Man,
even
the sound,
fit?
I could just hear the sounds.
Oh,
The
would that would
noises.
fit in there? That's
Make
I feel
it
like
fit
it's
there.
huge.
We're building custom cars over
Right,
here.
Yeah.
Come on, we're making
got-
custom cars.
Antonio saying it's boost weather.
Damn right it is.
I like that.
I will say that is 100% accurate.
Why is that accurate? Just because I've
Cold.
never. Okay.
Yeah,
Colder is better.
Well, cold where you have dry days but dry cold days.
Mm-hmm.
Like it makes air super combustible, and that's where those turbos really eat and condense that stuff, so you can make some good power.
Nice. Josh, Josh Dad, I love you guys. I've been going through some personal things, but
Really?
thank you guys always.
Dude, well, first off, we really hope that everything's going all right. And I know it sounds kind of weird and cliche from a wheel company, but we all know you, man. Like, if you ever need anything to talk with, send us a message.
Yeah, send us
we'll
a message.
happily,
Gotcha,
whatever,
bro. We're all car people here,
Yeah, and we're all human beings. So, man, we hope whatever you're going through, it gets better.
Plus, this guy's in our streams all the time, supporting. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Mario Moroni, could you please explain the reasoning behind the freeform discontinuation?
Yeah, supply and demand, man. I mean, like, I wanna make a bigger case for it, but it's really supply and demand. I just think that, I liked the freeform for how clean it was. I think that, the silver for some reason didn't really catch on super well, which is interesting.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it did okay. It just didn't do amazing. But we have, Mario, when I tell you that I have 15 finished designs of wheels that we are excited to bring. So I guess when we get one that we're like, it didn't really do what we wanted it to do, we were kind of like, all right, well, it's time. Let's move on, right?
Yes.
And we've been working super hard on development, a lot of different things. We're trying to make sure that we're really giving ourselves a ton of options. So, I don't know. You should see how much development we've been doing. Raphael is one of our engineers, and he has just been slaying. So,
Go, Raphael. We got a S2Z saying, pre-ordered my F1M through fitmentindustries.com.
oh, get out. The best, man. Appreciate you so much.
That's cool.
Again, when you get them on the car, send some pictures, and then once you do that, let's go ahead and let's get something sort of popping through the chain here. We'll do something nice for you, hopefully.
We got a JP23 something asking Mark 1 updates.
Mark 1 updates. There are some coming at the end of this month, and then you're going to start to see basically them all arrive kind of within the days, the weeks after there. So if you have back orders already, there's a good chance that the first ones will be headed out right at the end of the month. If you don't have back orders, there's a good chance that you'll see yours in May at this stage.
We'll get a last call for questions down below. If anybody's got any more questions, we got Antonio saying, reason one that I bought the Miata is because those freeforms look so good.
Oh, that's crazy. That's awesome, but it's crazy.
We got a Mario Moroni, makes perfect sense. Thanks, Scott.
You got it, man.
We got a Pretty Ricky, can you show the ash silver finish on camera?
Yeah, we can. I think it's right over here. Yeah, we can.
Right, yeah.
I mean, let me see if I can hold the mic in.
Love that finish.
So, I don't know, Max will probably have to look
Yeah, it
and
looks
see.
pretty good.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
there? So what's different about the ash silver is that it's not like it has a little bit of a little grit to it, not a lot, but it's dull, but it has metallic in it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But it pops. It's definitely, dull isn't the right word.
No, but what I mean is what dull is as far as the finish goes
Yeah.
is like it's like it's a matte, but it's not. It doesn't feel like it's a matte. I don't know how to explain that any better. Good looking finish, not silver, not gray, kind of right in the middle, but has a depth for it, even though it's kind of like a semi matte finish. So it's a really rich looking finish, like almost like that forged steel type of finish.
Yeah, we haven't really done too much media on the new ash silver finish, just because we haven't really gotten there yet.
We haven't done a lot of media on the forged stuff yet at all, and it's really because we were tired of basically jerking people around when we didn't, whatever. But we are, it's coming. I promise. You just give us another month or two, and everything is going to start to fall into place. And it sucks. It's kind of toward the mid of the season, but we got a lot of time left.
We got a please say no in parentheses, and then saying, were you guys affected at all? Were your factories affected at all by the earthquake yesterday?
Oh, in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Crazy.
so what's interesting is it happened, and I had just gotten home, was like maybe 8:30 Eastern time, 9 o'clock. About 9 o'clock Eastern time. I saw the news bulletin, and the first thing I did was message one of my friends, Jim, who works in our Taiwan factory. And I said, hey, is everything okay? And he replied right back. He said, thanks for checking in with me. He's like, yeah, we're all good. The building got a little tore up, and there's like, they sent over some pictures, and like, there's a couple walls that are completely like, they got the cracks going down them, bunch of ceiling tiles, like out of some of the offices. But the production line was unscathed. Everything over there is in good shape.
Nice.
And all the people are safe. So thanks for asking. Yeah, everybody's great. And we're super appreciative that no one was hurt.
Did you see that one clip of the guy swimming in the pool during the earthquake? Holy crap!
I didn't see. I really didn't see anything last night. I just saw the news bulletin pop up on my phone, and then a 7.4 earthquake. It's pretty substantial.
Big.
So I just wanted to make sure my friends were okay. I've been here for over 20 years, and so have a lot of these people, and so
We got Matt saying, thank God you guys were unaffected. Everyone's safe.
Yeah, yep. That's the biggest takeaway from these things, right?
We got Blueberry says, everyone in the pack matters, even the guys in the back.
That's right. Right. If there wasn't for the guys in the back, there wouldn't be a pack.
Yeah. And let's see, we got a final question today.
Okay.
Is going to be, what are my Konig wheel options for my Honda HRV? 2022 HRV.
Look, you have a fair amount of options. I would say do yourself a favor, don't go wide because you really can't. But as far as that goes, as long as you stay in that kind of 8-inch wide, 45 offset, you should be pretty good. Even if you do like some of the stuff that's smaller, it just depends on what you're looking for. But that's a good place for like TireRack.com or DiscountTire.com, which is tires.com. You could always head up Fitment Industries. And for the most part, even like Goodwin Racing and some of these, like these people think they own wheels. You're gonna be fine. So yeah, there's options.
One more question.
Okay.
Hans Orbitol says, any concerns with the power to weight ratio of electric vehicles in relation to how wheels hold up?
Yeah, it's a great point. I will tell you that I don't think as much about the power to weight ratio. It actually has to do with another issue. I've explained it before. I'll try to quickly explain it again. But basically, one of the things that we had, and obviously, Teslas have been around for a while. This is something that we looked into years ago. But basically, what you're starting to see, it actually happened to some of the OEs and some of like BMW wheels and different things like that. It was an issue that was kind of known. It's called radial fracturing, and what that is if you've ever seen on like the backbeat of a wheel. Like a little line that kind of goes up, almost like a little fracture that goes up on the back flange area. Now, what that's caused from is actually just repeated, beatering of the wheel, where the wheel is kind of getting, stretched and squished, right? Almost like it's just being used as a shock absorber. See, what you're looking at is cars, especially EVs, they are heavier. They are on stiffer suspension to obviously hold all that weight. They're using stiffer sidewall tires for the most part, and they're putting out more power, right? But the power for the most part, because if you were talking about a really tall tire and a really small wheel, you might have some issue with shearing. It's the same thing a lot of drag racing people have went through for a million years when they were making a crazy amount of power and then putting a lot of like slick onto it. When we start talking about the average wheel being there, it's not so much the power as much as the fact that these cars and this is stiffer suspension and stiffer sidewall tires and all these different things, the wheel is almost becoming somewhat of a shock absorber. So the wheel, as you go over bumps and repeatedly all day long and different things, it's now taking more of the impact than wheels have ever taken before. So I think what you're looking at is going to be something that's more in the inspection phase, whether it's an OE wheel or not, because you're going to see these wheels really take more of the absorption than ever before. I hope I answered that correctly for you. I hope I gave you enough detail. I tried not to bore you, but that's really the big thing and the big takeaway that I think people are going to have to start thinking about with EVs and some of the cars that are getting super heavy.
We'll go one more question because it's a good one.
Sure.
Tia asks, does Forge Wheel is the, I'm just going to read it right off because it's not, does Forge Wheel is the ultimate wheel compared to Flowform carbon and cast alloy one? So
I think I get where you're going. It's a little tough with the language.
Yeah. Do Forge Wheels...
So I think if money is not an option and you're comparing apples to apples with load rating, this is a big thing. There's been a lot of chatter lately amongst some different Forge things, and I think there's a little bit of merit to it, and then there's a little bit of stuff that really bothers me from maybe a certain standpoint. But basically, load rating is a big thing. You can have a wheel that's so much lighter in weight and forged, but it's at a lower load rating than maybe a wheel that's heavier and forged at a higher load rating. The one that has the higher load rating, most of the time is going to be the one that's just stronger because it's got more material and it's got more substance to it. Now, if you can say that, hey, look, I'm comparing a traditional cast wheel, a flow-formed wheel, a forged wheel, and like you said, a carbon wheel, because I think that's where you were going with that, like a carbon fiber wheel, and you were going to make them all the same load rating, then I think a forged wheel potentially is going to give you the best ultimate wheel. But remember, it comes with a much higher price tag. It does have a few pros and cons in there, but it will give you obviously on the average the highest tensile strength, the most strong product, and the lightest product. But flow forming gives you a lot of those advantages, just not in the center of the wheel, right? Like not in the face of the wheel. Look, you can only be the one to determine what exactly you're going to use this wheel for, and exactly how much budget you have, and exactly which wheel fits in for you best. Don't let people dictate it to you. Really spend the money where you think it's best to spend the money. And if you feel that you have the budget and you want the best of the best, then forged wheels are a good look for you. So I hope that answers your question.
Justin Streets with our final question says,
Okay.
Thanks for the info, Scott. It also says, what is your favorite personal Koenig wheel overall?
I've answered this a bunch of times. I'm going to say it one more time. So here's the thing. For me, it's not about my favorite wheel design, as in if you were looking at a wheel where you look at a wheel and say, wow, that's my favorite looking wheel. For me, it's more of a sentimental type thing. My favorite wheel is the Hypergram, but I'll tell you why. Back in 2015, when I was kind of handed the keys to be able to do the wheel designs and kind of head that part of it up, the Hypergram was the first wheel that the first flow form wheel that I really had my hand in developing from scratch, right? And for that, it has a sentimental reason to me, but there's plenty of other wheels that I look at and I love more and more. Our designs keep evolving, and some of the technology that we have into some of the later model wheels as we keep going, it's just so cool to me that we're at that level of being able to work in all these different radiuses and different things and find the strength and do FEA repeatedly until we know we have something that's really substantial and really great. So I hope that answers your question.
And then Melted Ice saying, how are you liking Aki's CRX build?
I like the CRX build.
I love it.
Here's the thing. Aki and I talked about this way back before he got wheels. I'd love to see Aki do a different wheel besides the decagram. I also,
Is it decagram or hypergram on there?
No, it's a decagram on there. And he did them in green. I think Aki builds great cars, and I think the car looks sick, and I love his choice. I would have liked to see something else on there, but that's my personal taste. and I wasn't building the car, and I still think it looks fantastic. So shout out to Aki, shout out to everybody in the Gunner Nation. Appreciate you all. And man, that car is going to be some cool gift for somebody.
I hope I win. I entered.
See, that's what I'm saying.
How awesome
We all
would that
enter.
be?
Yeah, that's what it is.
And we'll
So,
get out of here. We're good.
all right. Thanks for hanging out with us. We are here every 2 p.m. Wednesdays. Today's Wednesday.
Yep.
We're here every 2 p.m. on Wednesdays. We do this Q&A thing, so feel free to drop by anytime. Additionally to that, don't forget the podcast that's coming up. What time, Max?
About 20 minutes.
Yeah, in about 20 minutes. We talk about some cool things related to technology of 3D scanning and 3D printing. Don't forget that this is actually much more interesting in the podcast than it is.
It's a good podcast.
Me too. Yeah. So
Come
it's a
hang
pretty
out.
cool podcast. Come hang out with us. Friday, we have something that you really need to see. Mark it on your calendars. It's going to be the evolution of the Mark I. We're going to take you through every iteration that we did, and we're going to basically show you and tell you exactly why we did certain things and how we ended up with the Mark I the way it is today. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll catch you next week.